Cool. All right, let's get started. So I have a quote, a Zig Ziglar quote. I'm a big fan of Zig. I don't know if you guys are, but it's a goal properly set is halfway reached. In my mind, that means the first step obviously is to set that goal. And what I want to try to do so a little bit something a little bit different. So I asked people what their goals were for the week. And I kind of want to use that as a starting point to say, hey, this is the goal that I'm working on, and then we can kind of follow up with each other in the Slack channel and be like, hey, how's that working out for you, Marco, or how's that working out for you, Mason? So what I want to do is review the goals that we talked about this week and then set some goals for next week or for the following week, for this week. So again, the purpose is to build the community, talk about growth strategies, and then share knowledge. This is a healthy and positive community, and that's what we're here for. So I'm recording this meeting, and I'll send that out in the Slack channel, possibly by email as well, via a YouTube link. Everybody make sure your phone is on mute, just to avoid any extraneous noise. And then I also have the Ambassador Slack channel open. So if anybody wants to kind of chime in via the Slack channel to ask questions, I'm kind of monitoring that right now, or just kind of buzz in, but we'll try and keep the noise down a little bit. So organizers first and open to discussion. Okay, yeah. So we have organizers. Marco is going to be helping me do some organizing stuff. So he'll talk about the cameras. I'll kick it over to him in a minute. If anybody else wants to chime in on those, just feel free to. And I think Marco, did you put this on the housekeeping item? Is that something you did?
Yes, I just wanted to add that on there to see, just so we didn't forget. I didn't know if I should take that down to the bottom, so apologies if I screw up your flow.
No, you're good. I just wanted to make sure we're on the same page, but I did see. Well, we'll get to that towards the end. But I did see like what you put down at the bottom of the agenda. I'm really excited about that. So yeah, it's pretty cool, man. Sweet. Okay, so previous action items. Y'all continue to follow the ambassadors. We are a community, and we like to help each other out where we can. Use the hashtag Low Voltage Nation. I would greatly appreciate that. I was kind of scrolling through Instagram and I saw there's a lot of Low Voltage Nation posts. So that's pretty cool. I'm really excited about that. As for the Slack stuff, so I created the ambassador private channel. That's been pretty active. And then Pierce, I know Pierce can't make it today, unfortunately, but he did create quite a few sub channels, which is awesome because everybody's been dumping in the mostly, for the most part, the appropriate information in the appropriate channel. So just be very mindful to keep it on topic. And I know I'm kind of really adamant about keeping things in the thread. That's one of my big things. I know it's not as easy to do on a mobile device, but try to keep it as threaded as possible and as relevant to the channel as possible. That's my ask. And then I did a ground rules for general. I think I just kind of put in there like no advertising, no name calling, being mean or nasty. Just try and keep it healthy, positive. And this is, we're not trying to sell stuff. People will make the connection that you sell shit. So we don't have to like get links to your affiliate stuff. So just keep that in mind. All right, well, that's all my stuff for right now. I want to kick it over to Marco because, man, we had some really cool stuff going on in the cameras channel. I did pose the question, what VMS and VR do you use? And which camera manufacturer do you think is the best? And had some really good responses. So, Marco, I want to kick it over to you, man. Just take it from here around the camera section.
Cool. Appreciate it. Yeah, I guess, being in the industry a long time, you really get a vibe around everybody and all the manufacturers. And a big driver that we see is always cost, right? Everyone doesn't always have a budget, but they have a price they think they want to pay for everything. So I just from my side of things, we generally see a wide variety. You get someone that's really, really cost effective and somebody else that says, well, what am I going to get if I go to the Rolls Royce of cameras? So that's why I had keyed up a couple that we use more on the cost benefit side. You got Hikvision, Dahua. You can use the GeoVisions, just to name a few. I know, Kramer was mentioning the Ubiquity stuff. I was talking to a couple of the other guys about, I think it's Univision or one of those, which they're not Ubiquity, I don't think, right, Kramer?
No, it's not Ubiquity, but I'm wondering if we can't use it to control the Ubiquity. That's where that was my interest in that one.
Okay. So, just thinking from a cost factor, there's a couple options. You get some people that are like, well, I'm just going to use a Nest camera, or I'm going to go with Alarm.com. They all work, right? We can say that they all definitely work, but it depends on what you want to do with that camera. Because there's a lot of companies that'll just give you an image, but what else will it give you? So that was one of the big things that I always try to pick out or point out to everyone. I don't know if anyone else has any insights on that, with the cost factor or like I said, the manufacturers, Hikvision and whatnot. I know that they're getting a lot of heat too from the government side of things, but
I put in the at the bottom of the Google Doc the three kind of major OEMs for, I believe I put all three in there for pretty much the majority of the cameras on the market. So if you're sitting there going, well, do I want to get Honeywell or Speco or Speco? Not sure how we pronounce that. They're all listed there from IPVM. I thought it was really interesting. So just take a look at that. It's at the bottom of the Google Doc.
Cool. That's good.
And a lot of people don't realize too, like Mark, that's a great list you put together or found. If you put that together, you got more time on your hands than I thought. But a big one there too, if you guys look down a little bit, there's Nellies on there, right? And we use them a lot for budget. I would say that they're typically cheaper than the Hikvision side, even though it is a Hike OEM. And what's really a little added benefit is you can get your logo put on there. So just a little more added appearance to the business side of things. Everyone knows I like to market, and that was a big driver for them. But the big difference with them is if you go with like a similar Hikvision camera from one of the big distributors like an ADI or a similar, they're probably $40 less a camera, just to give you an idea.
Who was that you said let you put your logo on there?
That's Nelly Security. They're based out of Ohio.
Nice, thanks.
And they do some cool stuff. They can give you some cables and stuff like that. I'm not promoting them. I'm not pushing them. I'm not getting a kick or anything. I noticed they were on there, so I wanted to just mention it because you guys are looking, I know, for some different options. And then on the higher end side, I mean, our biggest high end is really access, and that's generally what we see out there. A lot of governments use them, municipalities, transit authorities. That's one of the biggest ones that we see out there.
Marco, have you used the Access VMS and the servers and all that? I've used it one time and I kind of liked it. What are your thoughts on it?
It's nice there's a little limitation to it. I feel like it is I think it's a better thought out platform than like an Exact. Exact is nice, but if you're gonna kick it into a mobile app, it's really, really tough to make it do anything you want it to do. I mean, we have a couple customers that have 100, 150 cameras, and like, oh, can I look at it on my phone? And they have Exact servers that we put in. And we're like, yeah, but it's not the prettiest looking app in the world. So Access is nice. It seems to be pretty streamlined. Doesn't seem to be too labor intensive on the machines or the server side. I haven't used it that much. Like you said, I probably used it maybe 5 or 6 times. It's tough to vary, I think, different VMS platforms. You try to not streamline, but you want to keep everything under one or two platforms, because you don't want to have all your guys try to remember how do I program this one versus this one, or what was different that I did last week. So I think we try to steer it mostly under a handful of brands, just so we all kind of know what we have to do to get them to do what they need to do.
If I could jump in here, we found that OpenEye worked extremely well for us. We're not a fan of their cameras, but the VMS pretty much hits 99% of clients in our area. So, has anyone used OpenEye here before? Taking that as a no.
I've come across it a couple times.
Yeah, I've
So
never used it.
what I really like is we can manage all of our sites from one pane of glass. So, and then we can use whatever on-viv cameras that we desire, as well as pipe in any analog camera. So if we're doing a takeover for, like, let's say a restaurant, they have a 16 camera system, then, and it's all analog, we can throw in one of their boxes, pipe all those analog cameras in, plug it into the network, and then whenever they want to, we can start replacing those analog cameras with on-viv compatible cameras, whether that be OpenEye or Dahua. Usually we go Hanwha between L and Q series, and then for nicer applications, we'll do Hanwha X series. But we found that it hits a nice price point. It's not overkill. It's not overly expensive. But when that business grows, or if they want to add more cameras, it's really easy to do so. And then for larger companies, we can implement Okta with it. So if they're, if they want to do a single sign-on type of deal, then we can implement that in with it. They also do tie in with some security panels and some access control. The Paxton is coming down the pipe supposedly late next year. Then they also do thermal camera integration. So it's one of those where it was really tailored for integrators, I believe, because we have it all set up so that if a camera drops offline, if a hard drive gets removed, if a recorder goes down, it sends us an email. If a camera is fogging up or anything, it sends us an email notification, and then we can get out there and fix it before the customer says, "Oh, hey, this camera's not been recording for 2 months, and now I'm screwed, and I paid you so much money for this camera system." So we found that OpenEye, they're not overly expensive, and they allow you to integrate so many cameras. We actually integrate we put in a lot of Ubiquiti systems, and that's all we did for the longest time was Unify Video, because the picture looked good and it was inexpensive. But we found that it has a lot of database issues, and then over time they just seem to brick themselves. So we went and we said, okay, how can we go to our customers, say, okay, we want to get you out of the Unify Video ecosystem, but you don't want to replace 50 cameras. So we put in Windows servers, we run OpenEye VMS on it, and then we run Unify Video in the background, and then we basically pipe the RTSP streams from Unify Video into OpenEye, and it's kind of a workaround. And then over time, we just gradually upgrade them to usually Hanwha cameras. We've just found those have the best image. Ubiquiti, for the price point, they have an amazing image built into them. So we just try to pipe them over to usually the Hanwha Q or X series. If we need any analytics, we'll pipe over the Hanwha X series, because we can do facial detection, we can do multiple motion detection in different areas, and then pipe that in, because Hanwha and OpenEye work very closely together with their analytics. So that pipes right in, and you can set up alerts for all those analytics. It's been really powerful and really, really cost effective compared to a Vigilon and Axis. So, and then all the guys that work with me, they know exactly how that system works. And we're not trying to go between different systems. And like I said, if we need to take over a Hikvision system or an Axis system, we just basically, we can even send a lot of the NVRs in that are on site to OpenEye, and they'll ship it back to us in 2 or 3 days with the software on it, and just plug it in and go. So it's worked really great for us.
Can I ask you a quick question real quick?
Yeah.
Because I'm looking for a solution. I'm kind of like you. I put in a lot of Unify cameras, but now we're finding that they brick up, and a customer says, well, we had an incident, and we paid you all this money, but we got no footage. So you admit, is it dependent on the Unify Video service, or if we put those cameras in standalone mode could we just pipe in the RTSP feed directly from the camera and cut out the Ubiquiti software altogether?
So I originally tried to do that. The issue is those cameras will just randomly drop RTSP streams and they won't recover. So we tried it at the office and we noticed that after about 12 or 16 hours that the stream would just drop out and go black. So you have to have unified video in there to basically keep those streams alive. I'm not entirely sure why it can't just stream from the camera, but it died consistently. And we tried different cables, we tried different cameras, we tried different firmwares. There was a couple firmwares the guy said online would work better, but that doesn't really solve your problem, because if you're needing to run on old firmware to keep a system running, that just doesn't seem like a great solution. So the best solution we found is you just put in unified video, and then basically on the server, when you pull that RTSP stream, you just do your 127.0.0.1 with your port, and you can pipe all those streams in, and it works pretty much flawlessly.
Nice, perfect. I appreciate that. I'm definitely definitely gonna look into that, and I'll follow back up with you. Maybe with any questions.
The nice thing about OpenEye is their customer service is the best customer service we've ever worked with. I can call them up anytime. I can email my support rep and he will get on the machine and he'll figure out what the problem is. And I don't have to sit there and they say, we'll just reboot it or we'll RMA you a new machine. They actually break down the problem. They share the logs with you. They say that we had one problem where their engineering team put together a patch for us in a day and a half and fixed the issue that we were having specifically with this one oddball camera. So we also ordered 3 recorders and they all had a BIOS issue, and they next day delivered new recorders for us. And then the VP called me and apologized for the issues that we were having. We were a new customer at that point, and from that point on, it's like if they're going to treat you that well, like they might not be top of the line, but they're so close to it that we're going to stick with them for a very long time. So
better support than Ubiquiti, huh?
Oh, big time.
Hey, Mason, mobile app for OpenEye, do they have one? Is it good?
Yeah, I would say it's not as good. I think the golden standard, at least as far as I'm aware, is the Unify Protect. That app is second to none, in my opinion. But the OpenEye app is pretty good. They have a long way to come with it. It's basically like you have timeline features. The best way to go through with it is looking if you have analytics, because then you can, like, let's say we have a camera set up at a gate, you have your analytics turned on and you have facial detection. You could go into your app and just select that camera, select face detection, give it a time range, and then it would pipe that back to you. It's not as smooth as Ubiquiti, but they're getting there. They are expanding. I think my rep said they're getting 3 times the engineering staff for next year. They're getting a new building this year, so that app is going to be evolving. And I've submitted multiple videos of the Unified Protect app, and the engineers have said that's what they're working towards. They were more focused on the desktop app since it's more of an enterprise / large medium business system.
And then you said for licensing and upgrading and adding additional cameras, it's pretty easy and cost effective. Is that what I heard?
Yeah, so they have 3 different tiers. They have their Embark tier, which you can go up to 16 cameras. They have their Traverse, which I believe is 32, and then their Professional, which is 100 and something for the recorder. And then those range from $10 to $54 to I think like 105 or 4, but you only pay for that once. You don't have to renew those every year. Unlike other ones where you're renewing that every 3 or 5 years. So the one thing that I've done is gone when I first set up my account is I asked them for trial licenses, and they would give me they'd give me however many trial licenses I wanted. So I said for like one job we needed 50, so they gave me 50 licenses. And then I found out if you just apply their online access code for all those cameras, those trial licenses will stick. and then you don't have to to pay for licenses. I just did that at first. Now I purchase all the licenses, but for people where we were trying to get them to move over from Unified Video, where they were used to not paying for any licensing on the cameras, we did the trial license to help push them over so they weren't paying for that. The only thing you pay for is your online access to the cameras. If you want to use their relay server, which works 50 million times better than Unified Video, where after you watch like a video stream off of Unified Video for 5 minutes, the whole thing would crash. The other thing you get with the online access is the ability to download and store clips online. So even if that recorder goes down, you still have all those clips online, and then you can share that with whoever you want. And then you get a detailed report of how many times they viewed that clip, add public and internal notes to that clip. So it's really powerful.
Wow. That's great info. Thanks, Mason.
Yep.
Mason, is that cloud based too? Because I know OpenEye has looks like a combination of both. I've come across it, some storage facilities spec OpenEye, and usually when they spec it, it's an outdated camera and recorder. And we're like, okay, what do you guys want to do?
So some of it's cloud-based. The VMS, the NVR, that's all sitting locally. The only thing that's done online is the user accounts, user management, and then if you want to upload a clip to the cloud. So if your recorder were to die, you would have that clip. That's really all the cloud part of it is. You don't necessarily have to do the cloud. If they have a static IP address and you want to set users up locally on the machine, you wouldn't have to purchase that online side of it. You just couldn't upload video clips or do any like health management or motion alerts. That's where that online part comes in. But that can be purchased in 1, 3, and 5 year increments.
Okay. Yeah, we have a similar platform that we use, but it's not strictly, but it's either cloud or you can do, if you want cloud access and store it locally, then it's a reduced rate. So I was just curious with it. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
So, John Laurie, you had mentioned that you were using ExactVision with Axis cameras for your home, and it's also, what interests me is that it's a Linux server option as well. Can you speak on your experience with ExactVision and what the pros and cons are and integrating Axis with it?
Yeah, I mean, it started out a couple of years ago when I went to them at I think ISC West to talk to them about the web server they were using in ExactVision, and I was at Mercury at the time, and we were using that same embedded web server. So I asked them for some help, and they gave me a free license, and so it's I guess it's kind of like a drug dealer on the street. Your first hit is free. So so I guess I got hooked on them for a while, and but it is I guess it's sort of like the Battlestar Galactica of VMS. I mean, it's old and clunky. It's pretty solid, but my main complaint is the mobile app is kind of crappy, and they use it's all transcoding, which means they kind of take like JPEG or PNG snapshots and kind of push that to the phone. It's not RTSP to the phone or anything. And plus, you kind of have to have a different. You have to kind of put a web server in front of the ExactVision to handle the mobile app, and that's really what's turning me off on them lately, because I did I can't remember what their LC server, which means low cost or whatever, and I got 6 cameras now, and it's on a special, not an LC server, and it's not powerful enough to run both the both the VMS software and the web server software, whose sole purpose is to handle the mobile client. So I don't know. I mean, I myself am looking for an alternative. I mean, it seems like, in my opinion, a lot of the talent has a lot of the original talent anyway has left Exact and gone to Cumulux. But I don't really have firsthand knowledge of that other than what I've read. Yeah.
So John, if I could just jump in there with the LC series, we've done, well, actually my Exact rep, he was like, oh, here, I'll give you one, give it a shot, try it out. And I have to agree with you. The software, it almost seems like they took everything good out of it and then brought down all of the specs from the equipment, and it's practically useless. And we had it in with an 8-camera setup, and the customer's like, oh, I can't get into the mobile app. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, well, Joe has access to it, and I'm trying to log into it. It doesn't let multiple streams go in unless you purchase another client license for it. And then when you do that, you have access to this crappy app anyway, so it's like, why bother? So I definitely agree with you. I mean, we've done a good bit of Exact before they were Tyco, and I think they were a lot better, like you're saying. I think a lot of the good guys, the engineers and the technicians, I think they have parted ways, as they say.
Yeah. They're I guess, what is it, Tom Buckley and TJ and all the original guys, and who's that guy that we thought looked familiar during the old training videos? But they all, I guess Cumulux seems like it's going to be a direct competitor to OpenEye.
Yeah, I've never used Cumulux or OpenEye. I've used a lot of Exact Vision. We also do a lot of Salient over at Guardian, but we're kind of moving away from that. So it's actually looking like OpenEye is a really good option based on Mason's raving reviews on the product. I'm gonna definitely entertain this idea. So
yeah, and on Jonathan's note, we were out at ISC West earlier this year, and we walked around and went to every booth we possibly could for cameras, and we went to the Exact Vision booth, and then we went to OpenEye and Avigilon, and a lot of the guys that used to work at Avigilon are now working at OpenEye, if that means anything.
Wow.
Really?
So yeah, a lot of them are. So good product.
Yeah.
Well, engineering or sales guys?
I believe it was mostly engineering. A lot of their sales guys that they have are actually integrators. They used to be integrators. So the two guys that I work with, they used to do a lot of like complex home security cameras, and the other guy that I as my sales rep in Chicago, he did a lot of schools and football fields. So he's been really good with like the thermal camera side of stuff and the choke points and how to lay out a good camera system and be cost effective. So they've been pretty helpful in that sense. But I believe a lot of their engineering is actually from Avigilon. So they used to actually do a lot of work with Honeywell. I believe they used to build
Integral, maybe.
Yeah, I believe they used to build the VMS for Honeywell for the longest time, and that's why they're not on ADI because there's some conflict of interest there apparently. So
yeah, I mean, I think like because I guess the Cumulux is the third iteration of video from the same guys. Like the first one was was a company called Integral.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Honeywell bought them and eventually scuttled that product. I can't remember. It was sort of like it still had some old like analog matrix qualities about it. And then then those guys left to start Exact, and then but yeah, and that's it. I'm sure it's a small industry, just like access control is.
Yeah, for sure.
I was curious because I mean, where is OpenEye based?
They're out of Washington State.
Oh, okay, because that would make sense because Avigilon is out of Vancouver, and so it would be, I suppose it would be a lot easier for engineers to kind of. It's an easier move. I mean,
yeah, they're out of Liberty Lake, Washington. I just looked it up.
Okay.
Yeah, I did want to touch on Will Hoffman. I don't think he was able to join today, but I want to touch on Will Hoffman's question around that gym that he's trying to help out with. And it looks like Tom. I'm not sure who Tom is. Does anybody know who Tom is in the Slack channel?
I was wondering the same thing, Blake.
Tom. I invited a few people because they reached out to me, said, "Hey, I like the podcast. I want to get involved in the Slack channel." And I think I may have invited him, but I scrolled through my Instagram DMs and I can't find him. But he's been pretty engaging, so offering some good information. But did anybody have any advice for Will doing kind of a smaller installation? I know we talk a lot about the Ubiquity products, but
I've been talking
any information?
left and right.
Yeah. Was that Kramer? You there, Kramer? Hello?
Well, I think in what Mason was talking about, especially if he's going to do, if he's entertaining the idea. Yeah, can you hear?
Yeah, it's kind of breaking up a little bit.
Hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
I can hear you.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Hear you.
Yeah. Yeah, we can hear you, Kramer.
We can hear you.
Yeah, I think we're kind of losing Kramer. All right. Well, did anybody else have any
So I guess
any insight or anything? Go ahead, Kramer. Yeah, Kramer, you're just breaking up. Can't really hear you. Sorry, dude. All right, we'll move on. Did anybody else have anything else they wanted to add on the cameras? I think we actually got a lot of good information, especially around the OpenEye stuff. Anybody else?
Could I be added to that cameras thread? I only have general, random, support, and ambassadors for my channels.
You can add yourself to any channel you want, Mason.
Okay, I'm not familiar with Slack at all.
Yeah, if you can see my screen, I believe you just click on the channels. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm doing? I click on the channels, and then you can see.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's an open channel, so feel free.
All right, we'll do. Thanks.
Yes, sir. Cool. All right, we're gonna move on. We're gonna go on to a completely different section. This is the new stuff that I want to talk about. It's the goal setting section, and for me, 3 podcasts a week. So if anybody knows anybody that is a good fit for the podcast, business owner, technician, somebody who wants to chat with me for 30, 40 minutes, let me know. But I'm going to start reaching out to people on Instagram. I got a few in the pipeline, but I want to do 3 a week. That's my goal. For Marco, you mentioned that you wanted to speed up your texts. So what is your plan of action for that?
So actually, we had a pretty good week, pretty productive. And we were able to knock out everything that I was trying to get done and then some. So that's usually something that doesn't happen because Mondays are usually a mess. What did we finish last week? But it was a solid week. I don't know if everyone had their Wheaties this week or if everyone just cleaned the earwax out and said, "All right, let's get things done." So it was definitely a productive week, and of course, end of the day Friday, I get thrown curveballs from customers. Hey, can you do this and this? But overall, it was good. It was a very solid week. Absolutely.
So do you feel that you met your goal of speeding things up?
Yes, for last week. This week is a whole nother level. We'll see.
So the goal, I want to set a goal for this week. So what is your intended goal that we can kind of follow up, maybe help out and chime in throughout the week? What are your thoughts?
I would say just being efficient, right? Everyone needs to be efficient. The guys everybody should have everything they need in their trucks. And if you don't, let us know before the end of the day. That is key, right? We need to be, I always say we need to be efficient and professional, and everyone needs to think on their toes because as you all know, this industry, nothing is the same. Everything is always changing. So that's a big thing.
Cool. Mark Salent, you got the RS485 converter from Cantech or Contech. Did you get that set up?
It's a funny story. I don't have a computer with a COM port. So I'm looking at going from RJ232 to RJ485 to USB. So I got a USB converter as well. So that'll be fun to put those all in series and see how it works out.
Why don't you just get a USB to 485 converter?
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I can send you a link. I use them for OSTP reader testing. Oh, I mean, it's like the cost of like $14 on Amazon. You have it tomorrow.
All right, I will look into that.
So wait,
because I didn't think they had one that goes right to. Okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'll send you the link, Mark.
All right, thanks, John.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So wait, that's an RS485 to a USB converter, John? What is it?
Yeah. It's a USB. It's basically looks like a pigtail,
Cool.
and you just plug it in, and it it's a 485 2-wire. Not 4-wire. I don't think anybody uses 4-wire. But I mean, I use it whenever I need 485, and like for OSTP reader testing and some like old panels will, you have old access panels, you need it.
Cool. Mark, what are your goals for this week?
Goals for this week. So narrowing down access control systems. So I've been in touch with a number of reps over this week and different training things you need, whether it's webinars or in-person training. Just trying to get a good lineup with different options and take it from there.
Cool. Yeah. I'm sure that John Laurie can help you with some of those decisions. So use him as a resource.
He's a great guy. Oh my God.
Depends on who you ask. But thanks.
All right, Mason. One of your goals, you mentioned you want to get back on Instagram. Like what happened? Why aren't you?
Well, we just haven't been doing like cool jobs, I guess. That's been the biggest thing. It's just like all the little just the little things like, oh, hey, we need to hang like 2 little speakers and run 1 cable back to a 70-volt amp. And it's like, all right, so we could post about that, or I could just put something on my story. And I felt like that was more effective. I only feel like posting something on there if it's like meaningful.
Sure.
So I just kind of try to fill up the stories with all the little, kind of crap, so to speak, throughout the day.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, that's been the biggest thing. Just trying to find that. I know Jeremy is kind of the guy that does most of the installs. He's been taking photos. I need to get back on the Google Drive and start uploading those to Instagram, but just been so busy. We have just a few larger installs that I'm trying to, not installs, but proposals I'm trying to get done and written up. We have one that I think is probably going to be close to like 35 pages that I have to go through and get done, but that's why.
Gotcha. What's your goal for this week?
Get those 2 proposals done. To get done. I'm kind of, I guess I'm maybe you'd call it old school. I like to print out all the proposals and bind them for larger jobs, and so that just takes me a long time to actually do. Then go to the meeting. So that's my goal, is to get those done in a timely manner. So
yeah. Because you're a sticky note guy. You're the one that uses sticky notes, right?
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah. So Will Hoffman wasn't on, but he mentioned he wants to do some website design. As you guys know, he's moving into an integration company, or he's going to start one, and so I'm going to follow up with him and see where he stands on getting this logo finalized and doing some search engine optimization. I could probably help him with some of that. lastly, I think that's last. Yeah, Kramer, you did some Acronis stuff. You got some certifications, and what's your status on that? And what are your goals for this week?
Yeah. So I'm back finally. I was in the car and now I'm not, so I got way better service. But
Good.
But yeah, I like last week me and one of my engineers spent like 15 hours doing some Acronis training and really building up on the platform. So I'm really feeling confident there moving forward. We're looking at some opportunities in Latin America to do some backups and stuff. So a lot of good stuff on that front. Tomorrow in Cancun, I'm actually taking my CCNA exam at the Cisco Live. So let's hope that goes well. And yeah, so kind of a lot of traveling going on, but I'm looking forward to getting away for a couple of days at the same time.
That's cool, man. So your goal for this week is taking that CCNA in Cancun.
That's it.
That's a big one.
Yeah. So
That's
taking that exam and trying to get a chance to connect with some folks in Latin America, and discuss everything from networking to backups and all around.
Cool. We'll send some good vibes to you, man.
Do.
So it's awesome. All right. Community building. I was going to make some additional, I actually was going to have Mark talk about this. Mark, do you want to jump in and just talk about moderating? You said you wanted to be a moderator. Is that still the case?
That is still the case. Yeah, I'm a moderator on probably too many things at this point, but I don't mind doing it. I'm kind of online all the time, floating back and forth. So yeah, it's I don't know exactly how you want to switch up moderators between different channels and stuff. I mean, basically, if someone's being mean, I can intervene in any channel. But obviously, I have my areas where I'm more comfortable and knowledgeable about. But I don't think we need to moderate content. Just people being nice and not trying to spam.
Yeah, I think self-governing is kind of taken into effect. I've been just kind of DMing people here and there and just really promoting the message of positivity and no advertising. So I think we're good for right now, but I'll think about how to kind of slice up the roles for each individual channel. But I think between you and I, Mark, I think we have a pretty good handle on it, and Pierce has done some moderating stuff as well. So as it grows, and we'll just kind of see how it goes for right now.
And honestly, I don't know how Slack works with being a moderator in different channels and on the low voltage servers. Like, I don't know exactly how that all works.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got your message, Mason. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about there.
There is, man, and you're going to lead that up, man. That's a great idea.
Perfect.
Yeah,
perfect.
It's awesome. Cool. New channels. I wanted to throw this out there, kind of get a vote on this. Marketplace for people that want to actually like sell stuff, kind of like an echo chamber for people that want to spam. Maybe not spam is the best word, but for me, for example, I am an affiliate of IT Pro TV. So I get $20 whenever anybody uses LVN30 to sign up for their service. But I don't promote that, in the Slack channel. I try not to do it too much because I don't want to be beholden to advertising dollars and pander to an audience. So any objections with creating just a marketplace with people like selling stuff? Like maybe they're trying to offload like servers or they have a great deal on something. Any objections to that or any concerns?
I think that's a great idea.
Okay. If there's no objections, I'll just go ahead and create that and people can throw stuff in there. The next one was business. Mark Salent, I think you mentioned this. What was your intent on that?
Yeah. I mean, there's some people who, run their own businesses, some people who are techs. And if you're a tech, you probably don't want to hear information on, how you manage employees or how you find people or, how you put in bids on stuff that's just not really so relevant to them. And then for people who run a business, that's really great stuff. And, it might have some overlap where you might say, I'm bidding this project and it's a camera project. Should that go in the cameras or should that go in business? I mean,
Yeah.
I kind of think it should be in business, because even if you don't do a lot of cameras, it's just kind of interesting to see how different people bid and price things out, how they do contracts, maintenance, and all those types of things. So I think even if it's not directly in something that you do, you can benefit from it as a business owner. And I'm sympathetic to people who don't have businesses and don't want to hear all that stuff.
I think it's a very relevant topic to pretty much everybody. So in some capacity, I say we run with it unless anybody has any objections. Cool. Last one, documentation. So I'm really big on, spreadsheets, SharePoint, Google Drive, all that stuff that, helps us stay organized. And I want to actually, start an entire channel and discussion around it. I like to call it Documentation Nation, because it's a big deal for me where I work. I'm always just being pretty OCD about stuff like that. So I'm going to run with the documentation. Also have Ashley Dowsley. She does technical documentation for a pretty heavy hitter here in Nashville. So she's very in tune with all this, and we see eye to eye quite a bit. So I was hoping that she might take a little bit of leadership on that. So I'll talk to her about that. And then if anybody has any contributions to the Documentation Nation channel, let me know. Or if there's any objections to that. If not, I'm going to start that.
I think it's a great idea, Blake. I think that's a big thing. Everyone's got passwords everywhere. That's a big start. Project documentation is something that we really push and do on everything. So anybody that wants ideas for any of that stuff, I think that's cool. It's a good start.
Cool. Yeah. You're big on documentation. You do a lot of the same workflow with floor plans, with using Bluebeam, AutoCAD, and then pumping it over to Google Drive, and then using FieldLens to tie it all together. So I think that's great.
Absolutely. And
sweet.
It's a big win, man. Big winner. That's for sure.
Yep.
I would love to know more about that, because we're on the struggle bus over here. I want to be more organized, but I'm not sure what route to take. We've done Google Drive with sheets and documents and then online forms to submit them, and nothing is really seeming to be super streamlined and can work with every scenario. So I'm 150% in on that. I'd love to know more about what everyone else does and what works and what doesn't work. So
yeah, we
I'm with Mason on that.
Excellent. Cool. Sounds good. All right. Podcast. The opportunity is always out there to do any daughter shows. If anybody wants to start any daughter shows under the Low Voltage Nation umbrella, also co-host and to get more guests on, I'm always open to ideas. I'm always willing to get on a podcast if I have time. So please reach out to me if you have any thoughts or any ideas. So I appreciate it.
On the channels, right quick, is there any interest whatsoever with the possibility of doing like a disaster recovery channel? I mean, I know it's not something that everybody is interested in, so I don't want to bombard the general group or something like that, but I would like to kind of see what everybody else is doing for disaster recovery and how they're handling that for their clients. So I don't know, just throwing it out there if it's something you guys are open to.
I am absolutely open to that. Disaster recovery is top of mind for me constantly, because I'm in that role. If shit breaks or goes down or goes away, it's my fault. So I'm 100% interested in that, and we'll start that one, and we can kind of spearhead that together, Kramer.
Yeah. I'm really that's become like the core focus of at least my role in Cascade now, and it's off the ground and it's moving on its own at this point, and so kind of the topic of the day for me every day of the week at this point has been disaster recovery and how do we prevent it, and then how do we bounce back from it if it does happen or when it happens. So definitely interested in that.
Cool. Yeah, let's run it unless anybody has any objections to it. Cool. All right. My last item, in 2020, you guys have been hearing a lot about content tsunami, and my goal for 2020 is to get on the road and visit with all you guys and do a bunch of video content and follow-up podcast. So that's coming down the pipeline. And if anybody wants to get on the road with me or contribute in any way, let me know. That opportunity is out there, but it's going to happen in 2020. I'm going to kick it over to Marco. He's got some exciting stuff as far as I can tell. So Marco, what are we looking at here?
Well, I'm just throwing. I like clean. You know, I don't want to be throwing something out there that's too cluttered or anything like that. So I'm looking for ideas, but something simple, something cool. You know, so something that we'll all kind of enjoy, but we'll only really know about it. You know, it's one of those things, like a club.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I immediately got on a video chat and showed my mom when I saw it. So I'm pretty excited about it.
And I was trying to place the logos like in order of just kind of what I knew of who kind of started where. I didn't want to put anybody in any particular order, but I also didn't want to be like, hey, I'll put me up top. You know what I mean? Because that's not the way it worked.
Yeah.
And I just kind of wanted to get a chain of command, if you will, flow. And if anyone, you know, has any objections or we want to move things around, let me know, or ideas within reason. You know, again, I'm all about clean, simple, so I didn't want to get too creative with it and clutter it up.
Yeah,
those are sweet, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah, we just got to be careful we're not leaving anybody out. I know that, you know, like Mick Andrews, don't want to leave him out. Mark Hewitt. There's a few people that we got to make sure that we're including everybody. It's gonna be a lot of logos, but you know, this is a community.
Well, we could shrink everything down and make it fit. You know, we don't want it to be. Well, hey, look, if we had 40 logos, we'd make them work.
That's what we're all about. So let's make sure. Marco, did you want to just reach out to the people that are left off, or how do you want to run that?
Yeah, I could do that. They're all within the ambassadors channel, correct? I could just pull it from there.
Yeah. I think that's probably the easiest way to keep track of everybody. So if you look at the members, there's actually 20 in the member list. So
okay, so we're a little short then.
Yeah, we're a lot short. I'll have to review and make sure that everybody in there is active, I guess, and kind of just figure out from there. So I'll do that as got to do our action items, actually. All right.
Maybe I'll do one of my wonderful spreadsheets, and I'll just tell everyone, hey, here's what I got, or send them a Google form and say, guys, just upload the logo and fill out the sheet so we know who we have. If you're interested, kind of deal.
Yep. So Blake review ambassador list, and then go ahead.
I love pocket tees, by the way. You can put your phone in the pocket or a notepad in the pocket.
Pocket. So. Is there a pocket on that T-shirt?
There is not, but we can make that happen.
Second that.
Well, we got to take a vote on that one. Hold on a second.
Who wouldn't want a pocket? You get your pocket protector and everything, man. Get your pens in there.
You must have a small phone. I don't know if my phone's going to fit in that pocket.
So Marco, add remaining logos. Okay.
Add pocket.
Pocket pole.
Just maybe a thought is maybe do the low volt nation on the back on like the top, and maybe replace like nation with ambassadors. I don't know, just so
that's kind of cool.
I'm just thinking, and that would maybe center it. What we do on our shirt too is top versus welcome to our world, replace that with a low volt, and then take out the nation and put ambassadors where the nation's at. Just a thought. I don't know, I'm just looking at it. The other thing is, I like to put our logos on the sleeves of our shirts too. So I don't know, like a simplified like low voltage logo, nation on the sleeve, on the very bottom of the sleeve. I don't know. I was doing a production gig. They had like the JBL logo on the bottom of the sleeves, each side.
Those are good.
Yeah, we could do that.
No, not trying to get too crazy. Just shooting out ideas. No. I think they look awesome.
Hey, I got almost everything written on all our shirts. So I got a flag on the right. I got team on the left. You know, it's whatever you guys want to do. I'm all for it.
Why don't we just fill up the sleeves with all our hashtags? That way, don't forget them. Like, you just need to take off your shirt if you're like, oh, what's that one hashtag I need to post?
That's funny. Let's
Can we
keep
get
it as
like low voltage nation, like with like a million O's on the side? Just like nation.
Oh my gosh.
This is great.
Yeah,
I think this is really going in a positive direction here.
It always is.
My wife's probably listening to this. Like, what is wrong with you guys?
It doesn't matter. She doesn't need to know.
It's the secrets of the nation.
Yes. Cool. All right. So we got some action items. Again, the ambassador list is here. That's still active. The hashtags and then the logos. Are you still using the logos folder, Marco? Is that the central repository people need to upload to, or what are we doing with that?
For the logos, Blake?
Yeah, for the I guess you've made that for the shirts, the logo folder.
Yes.
inside.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's where I put it.
Okay.
And I like Hoffman sent me one over, and I tried to make it work, which I did. Pierce didn't send me one, but I just pulled it from his Instagram and kind of went from there. So I'd rather have a high res one, like a PNG would be preferred, with no background, but I can generally make them work. So whatever we can get.
Let's get Pierce to send over a high res one if he has one, because that's all like
I'll reach out
JPEG
to him.
artifact. Yeah, send over.
Yeah, it's a little foggy.
Yeah, the details matter.
Absolutely, especially when you go to print it. The last thing you want to do is be like, do I have beer goggles on? What is that?
I know, right? It's terrible. Send over high res. Okay. Cool. We are right at 1 hour. I think we did a great job today, guys. This is really good.
Love it.
Yep. All right. Anybody else? Any closing remarks or any questions, comments, concerns?
I put the email for my OpenEye rep. He's on he's based out of Chicago, I believe. So if anyone wants to get a trial version for OpenEye, it is in the Slack cameras thread. So
Sweet.
just hit him up, send him an email, let him know I sent you, and he'll get you going.
I'm gonna be all up on that.
That's awesome. Yeah, that was really good. Thanks, Mason. All right, guys. Let's keep getting after it. I really appreciate everybody just getting on board with this. It's amazing. So y'all have a good Sunday. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. Take care. Bye.
All right. Take care. Bye.